So welcome back, guys, to Becoming Spiritual YouTube channel. I am your host Baba, and last lecture we really went in depth, and we started to talk about the significance of the Kundalini and how to go about raising the Kundalini. Again, if you hear any background music, it's my neighbors. Right, so just as a disclaimer. But today we want to kind of go, I wouldn't say off track, but we want to kind of speak about some other things, right? And we'll definitely get back on track with magic and that line of thought and practice. But we want to talk about ascension and personal salvation, right? It's more of a philosophical discussion, but it also becomes practical once you have done the work yourself and understand how this thing works, how spirituality works. So the majority of people have a spiritual awakening, and then they begin to search, or they would have always been searching, but then something significant happens, whether it's a form of trauma or it's some significant life experience that changes their perspective completely on life. And then so on and so forth, their journey begins. It might be visions, it might be other things. Everybody has their reason and their own personal initiation into the path of spirituality, whether they at the time they knew it or not. So personal salvation and ascension. So ascension doesn't necessarily mean being resurrected from the dead to go to heaven to meet Jesus, right? Because that is really far from the truth. If you'd have realized by now that each planet corresponds to a chakra. So the seventh chakra is the sun, or the SON, as it is referred to in the Bible, which is the Christ, or the Christ consciousness, which is one of the highest levels of consciousness within the sphere of the seven chakras. All right? And it's very significant. It's quite significant. But in regards to, excuse me a second. I had to clear my throat. However, if we should speak about your personal salvation and ascension, your ascension is not necessarily based on any resurrection. I mean, maybe it's the death of the ego, possibly, and the resurrection and the unification of the ego with the higher self, but not any physical death and resurrection, of course not. Your ascension is really dictated by your desire and your ability to search for, find, and apply truth and knowledge to your own life, so that you may be elevated in states and levels of consciousness. That is what we speak about when we speak about ascension. Because you'll begin on your spiritual journey, and then you say, all right, you learn about some meditation, you learn a little about the chakras and a few things. And then you'll begin to get confused, because when you start to get in the realm of the gods and understanding how things really work, then you'll find that you have maybe X amount of gods attached to one planet, and you wonder which one. You understand? So then it starts to get confusing. You understand? And it's really within yourself that you're really going to make sense of it all. You understand? And it becomes confusing before it becomes clear. Right? So as you climb and you elevate, and the consciousness, it's hard to describe an elevation in consciousness, because it's not just about knowledge. Because you can have knowledge and try to apply it, and it might not make any sense to you, because your consciousness is not yet developed at a level to really apply and to truly understand the knowledge that you're receiving. Which is why every state of elevated consciousness comes with a new set of knowledge. So it's important to the aspiring adept or practitioner or spiritualist, whatever you want to call yourself, that you understand that you must meditate, and you will go through various things, you understand. And the path of spirituality is not easy within itself, because like I have just said, it's confusing. Right? Especially when you're just in the middle or you're just getting started. And you will always be developing spiritually once you're working at it. So you can't even say that, oh, this is the end of knowledge, because knowledge is infinite. You understand? You just have to find what works for you, and wherever your spirit is leading you to explore, you explore that, and you research whatever, and you keep developing on yourself and applying new knowledge and developing your spiritual power. And that's where really chakras and meditation really come into significant play, because it is through working on the chakras and working through a Gnostic meditative state and really tapping into that inner spirit that you'll be able to strengthen it, right? And this will play off into the afterlife too, when you have that aspect of life to go through. But we're not really going to get into that right now. Right, we really want to talk about your personal salvation, which does include an aspect of the afterlife. Yes, I should really say that, because when you really look at it, your personal salvation after death is to escape Earth, or to at least have the choice to, because the reality is that Earth is a school. It is like a school, and it's a school where if you don't learn what you need to learn, you keep coming back here. So you'll die, and then maybe within some time, your spirit finds another vessel, to be reborn into, to come back. But I'm sure that most of us can attest to the fact that life is suffering. So if you truly want to get out of this place, then you must cultivate your spiritual faculty. You must work on your spirit. You must meditate. You must go within. Right, and through developing and applying whatever you learn through yourself and through your research and your readings and all of that, you'll be able to strengthen your spirit. Right, and then when the time comes that you die, different cultures have different perspectives on it. But one thing a lot of them have is that the person who has cultivated enough spiritual power and knowledge, when they die, they will go through what they call a light body ascension, where you basically be like a ball of light, right? And then they will be able to go through whatever steps they need to do in the afterlife to choose to ascend to the higher realms, right? And to escape Earth and to actually have a choice, whether while the ignorant will just basically be thrown back into the mix, right? And recycled back into the matrix. So you within your salvation, there is no man or God that is going to descend and take your soul and bring you to heaven. That is you. You are the one that has to do that yourself. There may be gods or entities that may be guiding or assisting a process in the afterlife or so on and so forth, but nobody can save you for you. You have to be the person that chooses to secure your own salvation through building yourself, right? We live in a very material world, and most of us have forgotten our true nature, if not all of us. People become, soaked or embedded in this world of work and of sensuality, of lust, desire, money, and power. And everybody, at some point forgets to cultivate that aspect of themselves. And we are born into a world where we're given these lessons and to experience these various traumas and lessons and difficulties, and some of them will actually help us to awaken to our true nature. Some will even keep us trapped here, right? And this place is filled with many traps. So it is really up to you, right, to take responsibility for your own life, your own spirit and existence. Even this idea of family, it's almost bullshit, because cosmically it's different than it is physically. You're energetically grouped within a family, but to probably teach you the various lessons or so on and so forth that you may need to learn at various stages. But the family is not necessarily anything that is, per se good. So it's really up to you. Alright guys, so that's really it for this episode. Thank you guys again for tuning into the Becoming Spiritual YouTube channel. Definitely hit the subscribe button and and turn on the notification bell so that you guys can be notified when I upload a next video. So Yeah, guys, you take care. Definitely check out my book on Amazon. The link is in the description. Becoming Spiritual, a Comprehensive Guide to Finding Yourself. Definitely everything is in there that you need to really kickstart your own spiritual journey. So, gratitude and peace, guys. Take care.